Yeah, 110. And so
Yeah, go ahead.
Addison just went. In 3, 2. What is up, everybody? We are back. We are at the Dynasty rookie pick number 10, 110. As always, joined by our tired father who's yawning. And Brian, how's it going, guys?
That's my bedtime.
Yeah. Boomer down.
That's it.
Boomer's down. But we're looking at the 110, and in super flex leagues, I think it's a little hard in one quarterback leagues before the draft happens to kind of map out how the first round is going to go. I think super flex, we have a pretty good idea. So at this point, we've gone through 9 picks. We've done Bijan. We've done the top 3 quarterbacks in Stroud, Richardson, Bryce Young. JSN went number 5. And then we said Hooker, Levis, and Gibbs were the next 3 at 6, 7, 8. And then we talked about, I think all of us kind of agreed with Addison probably at the 109. You can make a case for Quentin Johnston if you want. And even Zay Flowers, it kind of depends on maybe where they go. I think, if Addison goes to like the Vikings, I think a lot of people are going to like that. So that's where we're at. So I think basically what most of us are going to say is either Quentin Johnston or Zay Flowers, right? Those are probably our first 2.
Flowers.
Yeah.
Flowers. Brian?
Yeah. No, yeah. I like that.
I think so. Is there any case for a couple guys? Okay, let's say one of the tight ends. Let's say either Michael Mayer or Kincaid go to like the Chargers in the first round. Yeah, they go to the Chargers, 21st overall.
Or
Can
Dallas.
you make a case? Yeah, to Dallas. One of them to Dallas is another good spot. For one of those guys, can you make a case for either one of them over either Quentin Johnston or Zay Flowers here?
No.
Yeah. I think, yeah. Go ahead, Dan.
I think no. A couple picks down the road. When we start getting into the second round, I would consider it. But to me, Zay Flowers, there's too much there. Quentin Johnson, I'm not as high on, but I know I'd have to see where he fits in the real NFL draft. Mm-hmm. But I would not consider a tight end at this point right here. We're close, but and again, we just have to see. We talked about teams. You guys said Chargers, Cowboys. I know. I think the Raiders might need a tight end. There's a couple of the Lions maybe. But
the Raiders really need one, but he's not going. I said the Raiders really need one because they traded away Waller, and Foster Moreau he's got health issues, right? Like
he's had cancer.
He's on the Saints anyways.
Or something, yeah.
So there's some teams.
He's on the Saints, by the way. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, did he get signed?
I'm pretty sure that's where he was going to go sign with the Saints.
Okay.
That's where they found.
I think you're right. Yes.
Okay.
That's where they found it.
So the Raiders really need a tight end, is the bottom line.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta evaluate that before you do your dynasty rookie draft. See where these guys are drafted at, especially in the first round. You want these guys to be giving you something this year. It may not. When I say this season, so you have to consider where they at, where they sit on the depth chart.
Yeah. So Brian, you said yes.
Yeah. I've said it in a few of our videos. Like, I just like this draft for like the running backs and the tight ends in general, especially if you have like the taxi squad.
Mm-hmm.
I remember talking to you about that, Mike, before. Just in general, like our dynasty situation, like we're still kind of getting like our footing. Like we're not like multi-year in yet. Just kind of the idea of the taxi squad is like very attractive, especially for some of these like these higher end prospects where it's like, yeah, maybe they need to sit for a year, you know. So I'm in the market for a tight end at this position. I can't fault taking Zay Flowers either, but it's kind of hard like when you start picking like all these guys like that are kind of like in your same tier, because you know you're only getting one of them, you know. So you really have to have a strong conviction for sure.
Yeah, no, I agree there. In a weird way, I know we kind of agreed on, I think the consensus was Addison at the 109 over Johnston or Flowers, but in a weird way, if it's I'm at the 110 and it's Johnston, Zay Flowers, or let's just say like Michael Mayer, who went to the Chargers 21st overall, I think I'm more inclined to go Johnston because I think the potential's there. But if it's like Addison, Flowers, and Mayers, I might be okay with taking Mayer there because I think he has a better chance. One of those tight ends have a better chance to be special versus these wide receivers that obviously there's a chance, but less of it in a weird way. Yeah. Even though I would take probably Addison over Johnston possibly just because of the floor argument. I don't know. It's like a weird, like, if Johnston's there, I got to take him, like the potential of him. Right. So
yeah, the tight ends definitely got to go. Like if you're taking the tight end here, like they have to be in a good situation where you think they're going to get some touchdowns. You know, like not everyone was like super impressed with Kyle Pitts' rookie season, and the dude had 1,000 yards. So it's kind of like, well, if you're expecting 1,000 yards and touchdowns, like from a rookie tight end, like that's not happening.
Yeah, no, I agree. What about tight end premium? Like, where is this where you start taking them? Do you think it's even higher? Like, I know we didn't really talk about it in earlier videos, but like tight end premium, do you think it's like the 108, maybe 109 it starts?
I can see one of the quarterbacks getting pushed down for sure, and maybe receiver too, like whether that's Addison or Johnson, but I right in that same ballpark, honestly.
Yeah. Dad, tight end premiums, and do you think you're for sure taking a tight end here?
No, I'm not. So I just don't think the production will be there in the first year. I don't care. Yeah. I don't care how good the tight ends are, and they look good. There's at least 3 or 4 of them that look really good, but you know, and that is, you know, early second round or something like that. Yeah, I'm considering it. Just at this point now, no. At this point now, no. You know, I'm sticking with Flowers or, you know, Johnson or any of the other guys. So
yeah, I think a lot of people take that approach with tight ends actually, of just like, they're not going to help me now. I'm not going to waste a draft pick on them. I'll get them when they're good in 2 or 3 years, or like when people are down on them. I've heard this from multiple like different podcasts. Like, yeah, trade for them after year 2 when people are kind of down on them because they haven't broken out yet, and then get them or something, you know? So yeah. I mean, that's something to argue for sure. Well, one more player before we get into some trades. Charbonnet, I think, is kind of the consensus RB3 here. He hasn't gone yet. Let's say he goes to, like, again, the Cowboys and he gets round 2 draft capital to the Cowboys or to the Chargers in round 2 maybe. Would you take Charbonnet and Brian over these receivers?
I'd be more excited if he went to the Cowboys than the Chargers.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. Not well. I mean, I don't know, like what to expect, like the difference, like between the offenses, like the Cowboys versus the Chargers this year. And I mean, if you're going to the Chargers, like, I mean, you're behind Eckler
for a year at the most.
So, yeah. Which, I mean, that's kind of like, I'm kind of looking at it that way. And I mean, similarly, like, I just feel like you can make a bigger impact with being on the Cowboys, and that could only be like your only competition, and Tony Pollard could only be for a year or two because that's the contract that he has for right now. So
yeah.
Not saying that's all he'll have, but who knows, So I just like the Cowboy landing spot better, I would say.
Yeah.
So I'd definitely consider it.
Dan, would you consider Zach Charbonnet over Flowers or Johnston if you went to like a good team? Another team is like the Dolphins second round. That would be another good spot. Just any really good landing spot.
Yeah. I'd even consider Seattle with Kenneth Walker, I'd even maybe consider, no, maybe not the 49ers. They got Elijah Mitchell, but Raiders. What's that?
I think you meant like as the backup.
Huh? Yeah, I know. I said and McCaffrey.
Yeah, right. So no,
well, I know.
I'm just trying to find a spot for him mentally in my head.
I think Dolphins, Cowboys, Chargers are like Dolphins. You could be the best running back from day one. Yeah, Cowboys, Chargers, you could be the main
Dolphins
guy.
signed their 2 running backs, so
they also signed Chase Edmonds last year, and
I'll stick with the wide receiver. I'll stick with the wide receiver at this point.
Yeah,
too early.
I probably would too. Again, if Johnston's there, I'd probably take Johnston. Maybe I would take Charbonnet over Addison or Flowers. I would think about that if he was in a really good spot. So trade value. So again, we've talked about it a lot. Picking up a solid player, I think, is a good strategy. Picking up like a good player with your late first round picks. So like 110 for Jerry Jeudy, Brian. You like that?
Yeah, I'd take the shot on Jeudy. Why not like go one more round with the Broncos? Like I guess like something I never thought I'd say. Like
yeah. Dad, you like?
Yeah, I would do that. It's like we're still waiting. We're still waiting for Jeudy to be relevant. I guess everybody talks about him every year and stuff like that. Now we got to give him another pass for this year because of Sean Payton and stuff like that. So yeah, but he's semi-established. I think I'd do that.
Yeah, I think I would too. I like that. I see an interesting one here, and I'm very curious to hear what you guys think. So the 110 and a 2024 first rounder for Breece Hall. Now, assuming you make this, you have the 10th pick, you earned it. You're a good team, and that means your 2024 pick, especially with Breece Hall, is probably going to be a later pick. What do you guys think about that? 2 first round picks, but both of them possibly being, one of them for sure being late, the other one most likely being late for Breece Hall. Dad? Yes.
I think I would. Yeah.
And let's assume Breece Hall is going to be healthy. Maybe he'll be, I shouldn't say healthy, but he'll be starting from day one. And maybe he gets off to a slow start, but at least he'll be playing from day one.
Maybe not in that case, because we got to consider he was last year's Bijan Robinson. So that's the way.
So sorry, you're saying not that case. You want to keep Breece Hall. You want the Breece Hall side?
Yeah, I'm going to keep Breece Hall.
Okay, so you want the Breece Hall side?
Yeah.
How dare you, Dad? How dare you? Nobody is Bijan Robinson, right? No.
Yeah, sure. Guy's going to get injured in the first preseason game.
Yeah.
Brian,
I'd do it for Breece Hall. I think that's perfect. Because like you said, if you earned this, if you are that level of a team, then you probably don't need Breece Hall to start off the year, and he could be the icing on the cake in the second half of the fantasy season to really solidify and maybe fill in for another injury on your team, or even just to make your RB. If your RB2 or your first flex is Breece Hall, going into the playoffs of the fantasy next year, it's you got to have a pretty good chance.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I would do it.
Okay. I would too. If I'm obviously expecting to compete. What about straight up for Traylon Burks? Traylon Burks was, I think, for most people, wide receiver 2 or 3 last year. Probably in the top 5, even in a super flex, because the quarterback sucked. Top 5 or 6. So what would you do that trade, Dad? Straight up the 110. Basically, do you like Quinton Johnston or Zay Flowers more than Traylon Burks, or do you like Traylon Burks more?
I definitely like Zay Flowers. Burks, sorry, you're on the wrong team, buddy. You know, the Titans. It's just even the guy has probably got all the talent and everything else. It's just not happening. Especially, I don't know. No, I'd keep I'd keep number 10.
Yep.
I like Burks. I would rather have Burks. I think you're getting the discount. I guess like you're basically like you said, Mike. Like you're moving from pick 106 back to 110, basically. 106 from last year or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's no different in age necessarily between any of these guys. Like still so close. Like he is on the he's on the wrong team, but who else is on that team though? Obviously they got Derrick Henry, but it seems like they're kind of okay. But the Titans, that is, like going into the year this way, like they haven't made any moves yet, so
yeah.
I guess we'll kind of see. Like they're definitely going to be a run-heavy team, but that doesn't mean the wide receiver 1 isn't going to be anything necessarily. Mm-hmm. So we saw some flashes last year too, like when he actually did play. Obviously, injuries were a concern, so I think I'd just stick with Burks and ride it out. If I had the 110 and I could get Burks for it, I think it's a fair trade.
Yeah, I think so. I think I like Burks more than these other 2 guys, I would say. So I'm happy to do that and just assume Burks is gonna live up to his hype. So, okay. What about just maybe 1 or 2 more? But we've always talked about, okay, how far, if you had to move back, Brian, to the 112, what do you need in return to make that trade? What do you want ideally? Of course you want like a first round pick, but realistically and ideally, what do you want to move back 2 spots?
Yeah, honestly, like you guys kind of really got me thinking about this. Just this last pick, the 109 video, where it's like, yeah, like I guess if you do like value these like couple of guys like similarly, like why not? Which is true. It just feels like a late second might not be enough. I think this would actually be a good time to we've talked about like trading this pick for the first next year.
Yeah.
I kind of like that. And honestly, like I think you could probably, just trade for a first next year and maybe like get a third this year, like on top of it, just so you're not kind of like completely SOL for this year. Get that late round dart throw. So I think I would do it for that.
Yeah. Dad, would you trade? I think you said last pick you would trade the 109 for a 2024 first. So I assume you would be happy to trade the 110 for the 2024 first, right?
Yeah, I think I still would do that.
Yeah.
I do know, there's 2 very good quarterbacks next year, so there's no promise on anything, but that's kind of, the bait, I guess. So,
yeah,
it's your lotto ticket.
Maybe.
And those 2 quarterbacks, Marvin Harrison Jr., like,
yeah,
those are going to be the top 3 picks most likely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So load up on those first round picks. I mean, you just think about the odds. What are the odds that it's worse? It's either has to be the 11th or the 12th pick, right? Like theoretically, you don't know what players are going to be there necessarily, but there's a good chance it's, even if it's a 6th overall pick, that can bring you a lot more than, the number 6 obviously is a lot nicer than even just like 108 or 109, and makes sense. So, all right.
So who's the other quarterback you guys are talking about for next year?
Drake May. He's from North Carolina. Yeah. Caleb Williams.
Yeah. I've heard his name thrown around, and Harrison. Like, It's kind of funny because around this time last year, when I was like really starting to dive into like the Dynasty stuff, that's kind of when I brought up Bijan to Dad, because I know he watches college football, and he's like, well, I don't know who this guy is, and it's like, well, I also don't watch like Texas football necessarily. So then you just kind of see him pop up here and there. The name keeps getting thrown around, so I think it's kind of interesting to see. It's going to be interesting for me to be in the hype cycle like for a whole another year and kind of see like how much these guys carry over.
Yeah, I mean, you'll be surprised.
Things can change in one college year a lot.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So guys that we don't even talk about now or something like that, you'll see after our NFL rookie draft, there'll be a couple of the draft experts will put out 2024 mock draft or top 25, top 32 guys and stuff like that. You just look at them and it kind of gives you an idea,
Yeah, start paying attention a little bit.
Yeah, start paying attention, but of course, it's all edge rushers and offensive tackles and cornerbacks and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
But it just gives you an idea, who to start looking for.
Mm-hmm.
You got any more trades for us, Mike?
No, I think that was all. I was just going to bring up Joe Burrow was one of those, like, came out of nowhere and had an amazing, one of the best years ever. And, was the number 1 overall pick. Like, no one knew Joe Burrow was going to be the number 1 overall pick in April of, the year before, basically. So, yeah, it changes. But we'll probably wrap it up there. And we'll be back with, we got 2 more picks to go over. Again, like the video, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Catch you guys soon.